For this removal process, we will need good ventilation, nitrile gloves, a shallow tray, full strength 100% pure mineral spirits, pieces of lint-free soft cotton or cotton polycloth, a plastic bucket, and 4 or 6 mil polyplastic sheeting. This smooth acrylic painting is a great test piece for us to learn about the varnish removal procedure. An isolation coat was applied to the painting before the varnish layer, so there is little risk of pigment moving during this process. We begin by saturating the cloth with 100% pure mineral spirits. Weaker solvents will not remove the varnish. The cloth should be saturated with solvent, but does not need to be sopping wet, so we wring it out gently and lay it onto the painting surface. Smooth the cloth evenly, removing any air pockets from between the varnish and cloth. Then cover the cloth with plastic sheeting. The plastic slows the solvent evaporation during the reactivation process. Allow 2 to 5 minutes for the varnish layer to be reactivated by the solvent. Here we are checking the progress by lifting up a corner of the plastic and cloth. Any tackiness means the varnish has not been completely liquefied, so the cloth is laid back down and given a couple of minutes longer before we recheck it. After 3 more minutes, the solvent in the cloth has done its job of reactivating the varnish layer and is removed. We repeat the process in the same area with a fresh piece of solvent-saturated cloth. This removal procedure allows the solvent to continue the reactivation of the varnish layer. It's important to avoid any aggressive rubbing that can cause damage to the artwork. A cloth is applied to the wet surface and smoothed out. Immediately can be removed, and it should take a good amount of the varnish with it. As the cloth is pulled up, inspect it for signs of pigment lift. If you see any, clean up excess varnish and stop the varnish process immediately. The cloth is folded into quarters with the varnish side inward and is used to carefully wipe the surface, removing any remaining varnish. Now it's time to remove the rest of the varnish from the painting. We're speeding it up for the sake of time. However, the process is exactly the same as before. If you are not the artist who created the painting, do not attempt removing the varnish. Consult a painting conservator instead. If the varnish remains sticky for a long time and seems resistant to removal, it may be that the solvent isn't strong enough or the varnish layer is very thick. Long contact times of mineral spirits to the acrylic surface may increase the chance for damage, so if you have attempted the varnish removal of a section without success, allow it to dry and contact Golden's technical support for advice. The solvent-soaked cloth and leftover solvent should be handled and disposed of carefully. Never pour the solvent down the drain. Small quantities can be allowed to evaporate. Larger quantities can be saved for reuse or treated as hazardous waste. The cloth should be allowed to dry completely in a well-ventilated area before disposal. After completing the process in the last section, gently wipe the entire painting one last time. While wiping, feel the surface for any tacky areas and also visually inspect it as well. Once we have removed all the varnish, all that's left to do is allow a few hours for the mineral spirits to completely evaporate.